Alrighty, good evening, everyone. Before we get started, can I just make sure everyone is hearing us okay? Can you type in the chat box if you can hear us, and then we'll introduce our star for this evening. Anyone? Yes. Oh, perfect. Great. Good. A good sign. All right. Well, I first and foremost want to thank all of you for logging on to this Muskie chat. My name is Evan Herbert. I'm one of the admissions counselors here. I will be your MC along with Chloe Storm, another admissions counselor. Say hi, Chloe.
Hey, everyone.
So we're excited to be working with Mollie today. Before we get started with our presentation, Mollie, if you can just introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Mollie Labeda. I am an academic advisor, student success coach. I've been at Xavier for almost 8 years. I'm actually an alumnus of Xavier as well, so I am a little biased, but you made a good choice. And I mostly advise exploratory students, and but I do advise, kind of help out in general. Actually, Chloe was one of my students back in the day.
That's your story.
So, there's your success story right there. And I made her stay at Xavier too.
Yeah.
So that's who I am. I do a lot of the help with registration and making sure everybody's set in the next coming up soon. So that's why I'm here to explain what you're going to see.
All right. So before we pull up the presentation, just a few housekeeping tips. Please feel free, as Mollie is talking and going through her presentation, to ask any questions in the question and answer box. We'll get to them at the end of her presentation, but feel free to type them so we know what you guys have questions with. But we will get started with Mollie's presentation. All right, take it away.
All right. Well, this is welcome to the Muskie chat. And I already explained who I am. There I am wearing the same shirt I'm wearing right now. It's my go-to. But yes, like I said, I've been an advisor overall for 11 years. I worked at University of Cincinnati before this in nursing. But then I came back home to Xavier, and I've been here since. So I already explained kind of my background. So we're going to kind of move ahead from that. So as you know, when you signed up to do this experience, the Muskie chat, that you are going to be embarking on registering for classes soon. I know I'm talking to parents and students here. So when I say you, I mean all of you. But students are going to be the ones that are in the driving seat. So I just wanted to kind of, this is, as Evan said, the business of the chat, but also this is kind of an overview of what to expect in the next couple months. So just a few things to keep in mind. Today, just limit your questions to general registration if you can. Like advising and course questions, because this ensures more time to address questions within our time limit. Because unfortunately, as much as I'd love to chit chat with you all night, we do have a limit. So do want to make sure that we get to questions for the good of the group. Questions specific to your situation are best reserved to asking an advisor one-on-one. Through the paths we're going to cover during this chat. And it wouldn't be private here anyway. So don't ask about your particular thing, because everybody in the chat's going to hear it. And Evan and Chloe and your admission counselor can always get you in touch with myself or another advisor to answer those questions. So we're definitely happy to help. So we welcome parents today. We thank you for becoming informed about the registration process. And we're happy to have you as partners in assisting our students. We just want to be sure that they're at the steering wheel, because what they do this summer is what they're going to be doing every semester in some way or shape or form. Xavier also has an office dedicated to you, and our parent outreach office is 513-745-3006. So that's kind of some of that. So a lot of people ask us, why do we do registration like this? Why do we do it online? Why do we do it in June? A lot of people say, oh, my other kid or my brother or sister applied to OU or UC. I'll use UC as an example since I worked there. They do it differently. Maybe they have a big orientation in the middle of summer where you do everything. You learn about the college, the university, you meet some people, hear about all that information, and you register. And then you don't come back on campus till the beginning of the school year. Well, Xavier does something different. We call it Manresa. And you probably heard about it. If not, you will be hearing about it. But we decided a long time ago to put Manresa the week before you come into class. So you come in, you move in with your fellow first-year students, and you have a whole week of activities, small groups, you get to know each other, you really kind of get your feet wet about what it means to be a Xavier student and all of that, and then you start classes. It is so packed, scheduled, so many things to do, that we don't put registration in that point. Also, we want you to have your classes set early so you can not worry about that the rest of the summer. So that's why we do it now, and we do it separately. We get the business of registration out of the way, then you move on to Manresa in August. The reason we do it online is we know we have a lot of people in Ohio, but we also have a lot of people from all over the place. And it's pretty difficult and costly for you to come all the way to us. So that's one reason. The other reason is every semester in the future, you're going to be registering through the very system that you are going to see tonight and in May and June. And we found that practicing it now, registrar has said this, advisors have said that, the first year students in October and November, when you're registering for spring, you get it. You understand it. There aren't as many questions, as much panic or worry. You've done it already. So see this as practice for the future. Keep in mind, even though you may be at a computer at your home, you're not alone. We're not just saying, here, good luck, see you in August. We are all at the ready, okay? We're here to help. We have advisors in all the different departments ready to go. We have resources available. We have a lot of ways for you to contact us to help. So that's kind of the reasoning why. And I always think it's worthwhile to explain that it's comparing apples and oranges if you're comparing us to a school that does their orientation completely different than us. So that said, so everything that you will find to register will be through the same places you've already been in. So you've already seen the front page of Road to Xavier. So I'm just going to point out where all your sets for registration are gathered. It's all in one place. So I'm going to call this the registration portal. So you can see the circle that has the registration on it. And when you click on that, the page you see on the right, that opens up. So click on this button to see your next steps in the registration process. So that's where you get started on the front page. And just a reminder again, I know already you mentioned that the help isn't far away. So I want to point this out in the very beginning, that we are by your side. So very soon you'll receive a welcome email with the name and the contact information of the advisor that will be helping you. So through the whole thing, you'll have this person to help you if you get stuck. And so until then, you also can contact the Academic Advising Center at academicadvising@xavier.edu, which is all one word, spelled as you would expect it to be spelled. It's right there on the screen. And we will also help you out. So academic advising and student success, we're kind of the backup as well. So we will step in if needed. You can also help this with a star just showed up. You can always click the help button found on the right-hand side under advising and registration quick links. And this will allow you to fill out a form with your concern and how you would like us to respond, like by email or phone. And we're here to help. And we take it very seriously to get back to you as soon as we possibly can within business hours. So we delegate this out to the people who are going to be able to help you the most. So know that if you click on this, it's not just sending a form out in cyberspace. If we do get it, we do take it very seriously to respond as quickly as we can. Okay, so some things that I hope many of you have already been doing, and if you haven't, if you've just deposited recently, you may not have seen this yet, but this is a very important thing. You need to do this first before you get to registration. So if you haven't already done this, you may see that your next step is asking you to do your profile and take your placement exams. The profile gives advisors important information to use when approving your schedule or while assisting you during the process. So it just gives us more information up front, so we know a little bit more about you so that we can help you instead of taking time getting that information. So that's one thing you need to complete. Placement exams are meant to accurately predict the level of foreign language and math that you will be where you were challenged but successful. We take these into account when we approve your schedule, which we'll get back to later. In the math exam, take the time to do the tutorial, and I think that is the next step. Okay, so if you haven't done this, you will not be able to register until you get this part done. So I would suggest in the next 2 weeks before the registration date, get this done if you haven't. So that way when that registration opens, you are ready to go and you can jump right in, okay? I know a lot of things are coming up in your life. You're graduating, you're doing AP tests. Please do take the time to get this done and get the registration done, and then you can just be ready and enjoy the rest of your summer. So that's those things. So a little thing about math results, okay? As I mentioned earlier, you definitely want to do the tutorial before you take the exam for the first time, because you want to get used to it so that it reflects your best work. But we do want to kind of give you a heads up. You can take the ALEX placement exam. You can take it, and if you do not get the score that you think you should, it seems lower than you think, you do have the opportunity to retake it. This is why we switched to this program to do the math placement exam. Previously, you couldn't retake it. I cannot say enough. Take the opportunity to retake it. Yes, you have to do an 8-hour tutorial before you're allowed to retake it. But that tutorial is meant to make sure that you get used to the system, or anything that kept you from getting the higher scores, taken care of. So the 8-hour tutorial, I know it seems like a lot, but you think about this way. If you're comparing 8 hours of a tutorial to 15 weeks of a class that you may have been able to test out of, that is very, very important. So 8 hours versus 15 weeks, you think about that combination. So you want to try to redo it, and I would say 90% of the students who retake this score higher the second time. So definitely do take that opportunity to get it done. Because this fall semester, I usually hear students going, I need to retake that exam now. And it's really easier if you do it over the summer. It's fresher in your mind, and also we can have a bigger impact on your schedule. Okay, so you can see it there. So when you're on that first page of the registration page, you'll see in the right-hand corner the ALEX test, and that's where you can go to retake it should you decide to. Okay, so generally what you're going to be seeing here. Here's where we put all the tools to teach you the different parts of creating a schedule. So you can see the circle there, making sure I can see it. Yes, advising and registration training. It's there for a reason. It's there to get you used to the screens and what to be aware of when you're making your schedule. If you take the time to look at this, you're going to have less questions later. All these materials are accessible both from a Road to Savior homepage, and also when you're on the registration page, it's also accessible off of that. Now, so when we look at that for the first buttons, and like I kind of showed you really briefly, once you click on that registration button, it opens up that registration page. I kind of briefly showed you before. And you can see it in the complete academic advising and training on the right-hand side. So it's the same thing on the front, and that you guys are XU 2021. I just realized that was from last year. So you'll see XU 2021, and then you will see the button under it, then you will see it again. All right. So the next step is FAQs and tips. So this is the step 1 in your training. So we're talking about what you see in the training information. So general tips, tricks, FAQs, we've done this for a long time. So we've gathered some frequently asked questions and tips we've gotten over time and passed them to you. So if you take a look down there, we may have answered a question that's been on your mind before you get to the registration point. So step 2, what you need to do. So how do you know what courses you need to look for? You need for your major and core this semester. It's right here, by the star on the bottom there. That's where it gives you what we call your block schedule, or your recommended course schedule. So this is where we have put together with departments and deans what you should take in fall. I get a lot of questions about, well, what about what I take in spring? We will get to that in October. You will meet with your advisor face-to-face in October, and you will talk about spring. So we're not registering for the entire freshman year. We are just registering for fall, so one semester at a time. So you have that there. You have the recommended course sequence. And also down there, we also give you an optional kind of a worksheet to use while you're kind of jotting down classes and putting it all together. You do not have to use this. It's not part of the requirements, but it is a nice extra tool to help you out. So tonight we're just going to go into the Review My Majors recommended course sequence. And this is what you see. Yes, we're using a nursing schedule. So all you nurses out there, very exciting. But it will be different for every major, okay? So when you click on the Review My Majors recommended course sequence, it's going to give you what can also be called your block schedule, like I mentioned. So you click on your View Your Recommended Courses to open a sheet like you see here with courses for fall, including alternates and some general notes, things to be aware of. You know, if one class closes, here's some alternates. These were created by advisors and departments, like I said. And it's good to print out and have handy, you know, next to you when you're registering so you can refer to it easily. Now, remember that some classes are flexible in terms of if you take them in fall or spring. So some things you don't have to take in fall. There are some things that you can take in spring if you don't get a chance to take it in fall. So that's what I said, in the notes sections where we've kind of talked about other alternates. So if you look closely in some of these screens, you're going to see fall 2016. And that's simply because you don't have a schedule loaded in yet for fall 2017. So whenever you see that, please know it's going to be the same thing. So don't worry about that. It looks the same, all of that. I just want to give you that heads up. You also can see your placement exams here. So this is where you can see where you tested into foreign language or math. And remember, if you're stuck, you see that circle there. You can always ask your advisor for suggestions by contacting them directly or using the Get Help button that has that circle. Okay, so step 3. We've given you the training. We've given you what courses you need to take. And now we get to the actual logistics of registering. So how do you actually do this? So students at Xavier, and that's you now, use a system or website called Banner or Self-Service. It's an interchangeable name. So here we have some guides on how to do certain things in that system. So one, how to find those courses and their times and days offered that you saw in your block schedule through Streamline Class Search. And second, how do you actually get your seat? So the second button is where we teach you how to how to navigate Banner and register for classes. And I'm also going to give you some training tonight. So registration in Banner or self-service. I'm going to use Banner for the sake of ease today. But as I said, you'll register in Banner self-service, which is the website our students use for a variety of things on campus, advisors too. So earlier I pointed out where some tutorials were for finding courses and registering. And I wanted to take the time to show you a little right now so it's not completely new to you when you're here. There's just a walkthrough of how you will use Banner to schedule for classes. So, en route to Xavier, when you're ready to register, you will see this screen in your next steps. Next steps is meant to be showing up when you meet the requirements or finish the steps to get to the next step. So, click there on step 1 to go into Banner where you will actually register for your class. Now, once you do that, which we're going to get to, you will return from Banner and you've completed registering for your classes. There's this other button here we will come back to that sends your schedule for approval by an advisor. So that's important. We will be approving your schedule. So don't worry if you register for classes, you're like, I don't know if I did this right. It gets sent to your advisor in your department and we check it and we make sure everything looks fine. So we're going to make sure you can't do anything wrong. We'll make sure that you're okay. Okay, so when you press that step 1 button, it's going to take you to Banner. So you can see Banner self-service. We saved you a spot on that first page. So don't worry about anything else on that page. You just go to that beginning there when it says Road to Xavier New Freshman Registration. This will get you a step-by-step guide on where you need to be. So when you click on that, this is what you see. So here are your steps. Follow them in order and you will get done in no time. Now you'll see number 1, I did not put a star next to because its registration status will state that you can register starting May 16th. It'll be the same for everyone. So there's really no need to worry about that. So we're going to actually start on number 2, and how to look up classes. This is how you find the classes that were on your block schedule. So we're circling back to that, along with the days, times, professors, etc. So if you remember the tutorial that we mentioned earlier, that hopefully you looked through, here's where you can bring that out and have it by your side while you navigate the system during registration in May and June. So I'm going to show you a few screenshots in the next slides, just so that it's not the first time you see it. Okay, so when you click on that, when you look up classes, you're going to use something called Streamline Class Search. This is the best way to quickly and efficiently find classes. Just a thing to be aware of, if it's an option, don't click on Class Catalog, because that shows you everything Xavier has ever offered in the history of the university. It may not actually be an active class. So you want Streamline Class Search, because you want to streamline the situation, this process as much as possible. So first, you would see the circle. You want to pick the correct terms. That would be fall semester 2017. After you click submit, you will see the search screen right there at the next on the right. This screen allows you to search for sections, times, and days available for a particular course. Now, after you're done, you click on Class Search, and you will see this screen there on the bottom. Sorry if it's small. I'm trying to get it all on one screen for you. You will see this screen with the list of sections for the course for which you search. So there's a lot of different ways to look for classes. There's tricks and stuff that as you get to be here a while, you find fun different ways of looking for a class. But this is a nice basic search form for you. Okay, so you see that screen, and you're like, this is a lot of mumbo jumbo to me. I don't know what any of this means. So I'm going to give you a little guide here. So on top, you see the same screen pretty much that I showed you in the previous slide. And it gives you 3 Philosophy 100 classes, and you see the red letters. So you see the key to those red letters on the bottom, and I'm going to read them off to you here. So A means O or C. That is not a circle to click, that is a O. I get that question a lot. That means open. You see the one second in line says C. That means that section is closed. So if you're looking through Streamline Class Search, you're going to see O's or C's in that first column to let you know what has seats open. B is called the CRN, which is Course Registration Number. This is like an order number in a catalog. So that's the number for this specific section of the course. C is Philosophy 100-01. That's Subject, Philosophy, Course Number 100, Section 1. D, you see 3.00. That's credit hours. 3 hours is probably about the standard of what most of your classes will be. There may be some 1 credits, there may be some 2 credit hours, but mostly you're going to be looking at 3 credits. That means it meets approximately 3 hours a week. Now, labs, if you're a biology major or a nursing major and you're taking science labs don't always, 1 does not always equal 1 in that case. You usually have to do a little bit more than what it says. But that's what you have by credit hours. E, Ethics as Intro to Philosophy is the course title. F is MWF or TR or any combination of those letters. That are the days that the class meets. So M, Monday, T, Tuesday, W, Wednesday, R, Thursday, F, Friday. Question I get all the time is TR. TR is Tuesday and Thursday. It's not just Thursday. Each of those letters stand alone. But if you see them in combination, that means all of those days. Okay? So MWF means Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. TR means Tuesday and Thursday. But if you see R by itself, that means only Thursday. You'll get used to it. G, you see the numbers 28, 25, and 3. So this is your guide to how many seats are in the class, the capacity of the class. So 28 students are allowed in this class. 25 is how many of those seats are taken already, and 3 is how many seats are left. So 3 plus 25 equals 28. H is waitlist spots, and this can be a little confusing. So if you see a waitlist and it doesn't make sense, that's when you can call one of us and we'll explain it to you. Waitlist, basically, let's say the class is full, but they want people to kind of stay in the wings in case someone drops the class. That lets you know how many spots are in the wait list, how many are taken, and how many are left over. And if you're on a wait list, it's automatic. You get an email when a spot opens up for you. The disclaimer is 24 hours from when that email is sent. If you do not take action, you are off the wait list and you lose that spot. So this is why it's important to check your Xavier email, which you will have access to, and all of that to make sure if you're on a wait list, you get your chance to get into the class. I, Timothy Furlon, is the professor for this section. And J, location, building and room of the class. If you see TBA or nothing, don't panic. We have not assigned classrooms yet. This will show up before your first day of class. So it's not going to be like a surprise, find your classroom. This generates usually in August. Okay, so you may not see anything now, but you will by the time registration comes around. Okay, so that's what all of those things mean. Okay, we're back to the step-by-step guide. So that's how you looked up classes through Streamline Class Search. So 3 is add or drop classes. This is where you enter your courses into Banner so that you are actually registered and have a seat in the class. So let's take a look at that. So adding classes. You will pick the right term again. So I don't have it on here, but it's the same thing you have before, fall semester 2017. And you'll see the AddDrop screen, which looks like this. This is smaller than what you'll see, but it looks like this. You can proceed in one of 2 ways or a mix of both. So if you wrote that when you were looking at your block schedule, looking at the Streamline course search, and maybe use that little worksheet we had, if you wrote down all the classes you want and all their CRNs, that 5-digit number, and you have that paper in front of you, you can just enter those CRNs where you see the circle and the different text boxes. You can just plug all those numbers in and then submit changes. And I call that throwing everything at a wall and seeing what sticks. So sometimes that's nice to do first, to kind of just see what sticks, what's fine, and then if there are any follow-up that you have to move around, you have those other seats ready to go. Another way to do it, you see that second button that says class search. This is going to take you, through searching for the classes similar to how you did in Streamline Class Search. So if you click on that, you see the arrow and it shows you an example. And it says look up classes. The second button, I'm pointing to it like they can see it, it says advanced search. And this will take you to a screen that looks just like the Streamline class schedule. It's going to look a little different once you're there, but we'll kind of go there next. So if you don't do the CRNs straight into the page and you decide to go look for classes, after you do everything looking the same, advanced class search looks exactly like Streamline Classes, but when you get your results, it looks like this. So you can see it is still Philosophy 100, but you see how things look a little different. How I mentioned earlier where there's an O or C in Streamline, it's now a C, still same thing, closed, or a square. You see that circle. And that is now somewhere you can click to select that class. So you see where the circle is and there's a little check mark. If you want that class, you can click on that to select it. And then you can either register for the class. That puts you straight into the class, into the seat, no middleman. You're into the class. Or if you click Add to Worksheet, it plugs in that CRN to those boxes we showed before. So it's not registering you for the class. It's just prepping it in the CRN. So keep that in mind. It's kind of in your cart, but you have not bought it yet. So please make sure that if you do that, you actually do hit submit to actually get registered for the class. You can do it either way. It doesn't really matter how you do it. Depends on how you feels more comfortable for you. Okay, so after it's there, hit submit changes. And if you didn't do register, if you added it to the worksheet and it shows up below like it does on the screen, you press submit changes, that's what registers you for the class. So this is why this is like the middleman. Okay, you were registered. Again, remember this is fall 2016, but other than that, it will look exactly like this. So when you, on your AddDrop screen, when you see this, when you see the classes on top and they're web registered, you see your total credit hours of 15 and the date, that means you're done. You've registered for those classes. If you don't see that and you see CRNs at the bottom or nothing, that means that you're not in those classes. So make sure that those are actually registered before you come back to have it sent to an advisor for approval. So that's what you want to see. That means everything is set. Okay, so now we're back to, let's see, you've gone in there, you've done the registration, you see that on your AddDrop screen, and now we're back to step-by-step guide. And now I want to show you what your schedule will look like if you click on number 4, print your class schedule. Again, it's 2016, but this is what a printable schedule is. It shows everything. Obviously, it doesn't have building and room yet, but it shows everything in a nice little succinct table for you. This is what a lot of students print out, kind of keep in their binder or whatever, their book bag, especially until they get used to where all their classes are. And it kind of shows you all the pertinent information. What I would do is you can print it out now to refer to it, but I definitely would print it out again once you see all the buildings and rooms. And I will say during Manresa, usually they do have the opportunity to walk around and see where your classes are. Okay, so that's just what that looks like. And back to the step-by-step guide, the last thing there is return to Road to Xavier. So remember I mentioned earlier, register, but then we're going to check your schedule. So this is very important. You need to come here, back to the step-by-step guide, and you see the arrow where it says click here to return to Road to Xavier. This will take you back to where we were, and this will give you the opportunity to do that other button that says sending it to an advisor. So you definitely need to do this because we don't consider you done until you have an approved schedule. So remember this screen. We just went into step 1, into detail. But now we're doing step 2, where you see the star. So after you register for classes, confirmed by checking out the printable class schedule or seeing that on your AddDrop, you need to return to Road to Xavier and send your schedule for approval. So you click here by the arrow. I already showed you that. Something to keep in mind, don't worry about once you're in those classes, your seat is saved. That is your schedule. So coming back here does not erase anything. Your seats are already saved. So in Road to Xavier, when you're ready to register, you'll see this screen in Next Steps. And on step 2, you'll go, let's see, I already talked about that. 1 second. So step 1 is when you went into Banner. After you return, you have step 2. You click on this button in order to get ready to send your schedule for an approval. So once you do that, you will see this screen. Okay, so this is finalizing your schedule. So send your schedule to your advisor. You see down there. They will review it, and we get to it as soon as we possibly can. We have a bunch of people kind of keeping an eye on things to make sure we get back to you. I believe our deadline is within 5 business days, but usually we get back to you much sooner than that. We'll either approve your schedule or send you recommendations for changes. You'll get an inbox email alerting you to the status of your schedule and what to do next, if anything. So they'll let you know that it's been sent. And we'll also let you know when you get a response from your advisor. And if it's recommendations for changes, we as advisors put specific information in there guiding you on what you should do. Saying, oh, you need to add this class or consider this class instead. So we give you instructions, and that will be in an inbox, Road to Xavier inbox message. Until you hear back from us after setting your schedule, do not do anything to your schedule. Just let it be and let us look at it, and we will tell you what you need to do, if anything. That way you know that we're looking at the same schedule that you sent versus, 2 shifts passing in the night. Okay, so you send it, and I explained that, what you'll hear back from an advisor. Let's say you get that inbox message, you're approved. You're done. You can now rest easy, enjoy the rest of your summer. In August, when you come back to campus for Manresa in August, there are times in the schedule that allow you to go see your advisor. If you have any changes to your schedule, anything that you need to do, you can come back in August and we will help you change your schedule around if needed. Everybody does that, upperclassmen too. Let's see, it doesn't say here, so I'm going to give this an exception. The exception to that is if something happens that necessitates a change in your schedule. Let's say you have AP, Advanced Placement Credit, or IB credit. We don't get that till July. So we'll get it. Your dean will send you a letter letting you know what credit. We usually tell students if they are expecting credit for AP or IB, don't register for that class. So if you're taking AP, English, Language, and Composition, don't register for English 101. That's one of the things you tell us in academic profile. So we know, just hold off. If you need, pardon that, my concert of my children singing. So what you can do in that meantime is not register for the class, and I really apologize. Okay. What you can do is not register for the class that you think you're going to have credit in, and then if you don't get the credit and you need that class in fall, like I said, many times you can wait till spring, we will contact you, an advisor, and let you know what we need to do, okay? Or if you retook your math placement and you scored higher and you had the old math in your schedule, again, we'll work with you. So other than that, there's no need to work with your schedule because we approved the schedule you sent. So just hold off. We'll help you in August. Let's see. So again, if you're given suggestions, make sure you just follow that same step. You go back into Banner, change what we ask, and then remember to resubmit it so that we can get another look at it. And most of the time, the second time is golden. You do what we need and you're set. If there's a problem where there's still a problem or the second time around, we will reach out to you. We'll email you, we'll call you. We'll kind of talk a little bit more, not through a screen, to make sure that everything is understandable, is clarified. So don't worry, you're not going to be in that endless feedback loop. We're going to reach out and make sure that you're okay, right? Okay, I do believe that is everything I have. I'm going to turn it back to Evan and Chloe.
Perfect. Now we get to the best part, your questions. So, Chloe, you want to start us off with the first question we have?
I will. So the first question is, when does registration open?
Registration opens May 16th, which is a Tuesday. And then it goes, I believe, to June 16th or June 17th. So you have 5 weeks to get this done. So we can try to give you plenty of time. Registration is first come, first serve over summer. So don't wait around. That's another reason to just get it done. And so you don't have to worry about it the rest of the semester. This is the only time you're going to be able to have it first come, first serve. After this, you have registration ticket. We'll explain that in October. So yeah, May 16th.
Perfect. All righty. How should you proceed if you have a major but also are on a track such as pre-med?
Say that.
How should you proceed if you have a major but are also on a track? It's like pre-med, pre-law, if you're on a track, but you're
okay, well, pre-med here is natural sciences, so that would be your major. And we would know that. You would have an advisor in that major, the one helping you over the summer, so they will know exactly what you want. Pre-law, we don't have a major, we have a track, but it's kind of informal. So usually we talk about a student going into a major that is very good for law, and some off the top of my head, English, history, criminal justice, political science. We get you attached to the pre-law society on campus, and then they'll help you pick appropriate classes. And that's usually upper when you get up higher versus freshman year.
All right. So the next question is, where does a student see what credits they earned in high school that carry over for college credits?
So you would get credit from high school classes if you did post-secondary, also known as dual enrollment. So if you took a class through an accredited college to get a high school and college credit, academic profile gives you the opportunity to give us a heads up that those credits may be coming. In order to get those credits, you will have to get the transcript sent to Xavier. And then within what we can with the academic profile, we can try to give you an idea of what some of those classes may transfer as. If it's a school that we have not heard of, or we don't have a lot of experience with, it may need to go through a process of a credit evaluation, taking a look at it. But we'll try to give you, all the advisors, when we're helping you, we usually say it's the same thing as AP. You know, if you took English composition and you're pretty sure that's going to transfer, don't worry about taking English composition that fall semester. And then we'll work with you when we're approving your schedule to make sure it works out.
All right, so we're having a lot of great questions come in, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I just want to mention one quick point from one of the questions. So yes, we are recording this, and we will be placing this up on the Road to Xavier website, so you can look back to all the files and everything that Mollie talked about that was helpful tonight. But we'll move on to our next question for Mollie. When do students get their Xavier email address?
I'm going to throw that back to you, Evan.
So
I think you did it pretty in one of the first steps of the whole Road to Xavier system, right?
It should be up there now. So
Okay.
You'll see steps as they come, and they are designed specifically for the timeline to help get you here. So if it's not available now, it should be available either once you complete some of those steps or within the next week or so. But follow those steps in order on Road to Xavier. Again, they are designed specifically to make sure you're going everything you need to in order.
And we made a very good, over the last couple of years, we made a very, very, strategic to make sure that they go in an efficient manner, in the right order. We don't want to overwhelm you with steps. So it's in the right place. Wherever it is, it's in the right place.
All right, so this next question has to do with foreign language. If you are taking a new language, haven't taken any classes in high school in that language, do you still have to take the placement test?
No. So the rules are that if you took French, German, Latin, or Spanish, we have 4 placement exams. If you took any of those, even for a year, please do the placement exam. If you did not take any foreign language, or if you took a language that does not have an exam, put other, where it says to, do your placement exam, and then let us know in the academic profile what you took. Because if you took something like Italian or Hebrew, something we do have here, we'll connect you to the chair of that department, and they will help place you in the right place. And if you didn't take anything, well, you're just going to start at a 101 of a level. So there's really no reason for you to take the exam. But I will say, we know that you've taken it. So make sure that, if you actually did take the foreign language, to take the test if it's available. But you don't have to if you don't have it.
And just a follow-up question, because I know I was in these, or I had this type of question. If you took, for example, Spanish in high school, but in college you want to take a different language than Spanish, should you still take the Spanish placement test? Okay.
Still take it, because if you change your mind, we already have the step done. Versus if you change your mind and you come on campus, well, now we're going to have to make you go back and take the Spanish, the placement exam. So just do it. Taking the placement exam does not commit you to taking that language. It's just information we need should you take it.
Perfect.
A very good point, Evan.
Right.
Thank you.
No problem. That is what I'm here for, and that's why I didn't say it. Can you retake the math placement test anytime over the summer, or do you have to only do it before 5:15?
Oh, no. You can take it at any point. It's open. So, let's say you do it, and let's say you do it, let's say the first week of May, or you've already done it, and you want to wait till school's over or something like that, that's fine. You do have the entire summer, and you technically have farther than that, but we suggest you just get it done before school starts so that we can make adjustments to your schedule if necessary. But no, it's not all, you don't have to finish that retake by the 15th at all.
All right. So if you are an honors student, do you do anything different for registration?
Nope. You do the same. Now, you will have, I do believe, honors has a block schedule as well. It gives you suggestions. Just a quick aside, honors is, the last 2 years, is very flexible. So just speaking from experience, most likely all you're really going to have different in fall semester is you usually take English 115 instead of 101, and it's a different English class for honor students. And or if you take a theology or philosophy, you can take an honors section of it. Or I think history has one as well. So that's really all you have to worry about, is maybe if you take an honors section of something versus a non-honor section, but you do have that information loaded in for you.
All right, is the tutorial actually 8 hours long, and does it need to be completed all at once?
Not all at once. No, it is 8 hours, but it doesn't. You can stop and start it. You don't have to sit down for an entire 8 hours. That would that would give me a headache. No, so it is stop and start. You can save and come back. That's no problem.
All right. So when will students know who their advisor is?
Okay, so there's 2 steps to this. You are going to have a summer advisor, the advisor that helps you through this process, which may or may not be the advisor you have full term, right? For the rest of your career, depending on your major. Because it is summer and not all faculty and staff are on campus, we do, the ones that approve schedules are ones who have volunteered to do it. So they're usually chairs of departments and some faculty, some directors. My office is always helping, but not everyone's going to be there. So you might have one person that helps you over the summer, but then you'll get informed in fall that you have a different advisor that will be, endure for the rest of your time here. If you're exploratory, I know exploratory is a popular major, so I know myself, I will be approving schedule, but so will 3 other people in my area. So we try to get you guys assigned to advisors as early as possible. I would say before school starts, you will know who your advisor is.
Perfect. I can look at my sequence right now and prep for May 16th, correct?
It comes up at a certain point, so I think you have to do certain things before you can get there. You might have to go through the training. You definitely have to do your language exam and academic profile before you even get to those steps, but it is within the training step, so I do believe that it shows up there, which is pretty soon in the whole sequence. But you can look at your block schedule and kind of get a sense of what you need, yes.
Can you drop a class after school has begun?
Yes, first week. So something to give you a little advisor's tip. There's dropping a class and withdrawing from a class. Many times it's used interchangeably, but there is a slight difference. So dropping a class is available up through that first week of class. That is when you can drop or add a class to your schedule, and it's as if it never happened. Your old class vanishes, your new class, enters in. After that Friday, actually I think it's that Sunday, after that first week passes, if you want to leave a class, you are now withdrawing from the class. You will have a W, which does not hurt your GPA, does not immediately hurt your financial aid or anything like that. And I say immediately because if you get into a habit of withdrawing from a lot of classes over semesters, it will hurt you. But withdrawal here, there's no problem. But also after that date, so it's a W. And also, you can't add anything after that. You have that first week to change your schedule without any repercussions.
All right. So we had a student ask if you can take 2 languages if you aren't majoring in language.
You can. Yeah, we're not going to stop you. We just want to make sure, that it all fits in your schedule and that you're still going to graduate on time if you add that second language in. The second language becomes a general elective. If it's not your major, if it's not your minor, it's a general elective. Now there's space in your program for that. So everyone needs to take 120 credit hours. That state of Ohio pretty much anyway. So that's core in your major. And then if that doesn't equal 120, there's a group of classes called general electives. These are things that don't attach to core, attach to major. That might be classes just that you want to take just for your own knowledge or fun. So there is space for that. But you just want to make sure you're getting your major and core done is a priority over those general electives. So you just want to work with your advisor to make sure that you can still progress.
What are FirstYear Seminar and FirstYear Passport?
Very good question. Passport, no surprise, Passport's in there. Okay, so FirstYear Seminar is Core 100. That is a requirement. You take it either fall or spring. So you take it either Core 100 or Theology, and then you flip to the other one. There's only 16 people in the class. It is a topic that the professor has chosen. In the past, we've had things like Bob Dylan as the professor. You talked about lyrics and things. The general idea of the class is to polish your critical reading and writing skills. So that's why you take it freshman year. So it's usually taught, like I said, it's a topic that the faculty really, really like. Usually some of our best faculty teach these classes. There's only about 16 people in the class, so it's a nice small class. So that's what Core 100 is. Core 101 in fall and 102 in spring, also known as First Year Co-Curricular Program. Passport was something we called it a while ago. Also called GOA. GOA is not an acronym. Like Manresa in the fall, before leading up, GOA is during the year, and you'll hear why that is. For the sake of time, I won't go into the explanation. It is a 0 credit hour class, pass or fail, but it is a graduation requirement. The first 5 or 6 weeks, 6 in fall, I believe 5 in spring, you have a class once a week with 27, 28 other students, and what is usually a staff member. So people at admissions have taught it, all over the campus have taught it. And we cover things that include how to get used to, it's kind of like Manresa Extended, talking about study skills, test skills, getting used to being Xavier, how to find things on campus. In spring, we talk about like how to do career searches, kind of getting you used to the resources and things that make you a Xavier student through the rest of the year. There's no homework. You do everything. I think there's one reflection paper. And you also have that instructor. You can rely on that instructor to, as another touch point. You don't have to keep the same instructor fall and spring, but if you want to, you can. So it's just an additional layer of support. So yes, that is also a graduation requirement, but it is not a lot of, it's not added work. It's meant to benefit you. So very good question.
Yeah. I also think this is another excellent question. Approximately how long does each placement exam take, and can you take a lower class than what is recommended based on your exam results?
Okay, so 2-part question. The foreign language can take 5 minutes. It can take 15. It's usually pretty short. The math, longer. I don't actually have a particular time that I'm aware of. I want to say you want to give yourself an hour probably to be safe, but I'm not exactly sure, but I can check. We can check and let you guys know. For math, it really depends on your major. Math is very major specific, so it kind of depends what math you take. Depends a little bit on your placement exam, but also a little bit on what your major is. If you're exploratory, we kind of help you out with that. So that's kind of a fluid situation. The system won't allow you to register something below what you tested. But a lot of times the whole idea of the math placement test is you can take a class this high. But if your major requires something a little lower, that's fine. So you work with your advisor. Language, no, you can't. Because if you test into, say, a 102 level, and you take 101, that 101 is a general elective, and you still have to start at 102 and get up to 201. Something to be aware of, and I want to put this here since it's a good place to explain it, German, Spanish, and French do have a 103. And students tend to get scared off by that because it's 103, so it's above the 102, and it also says accelerated in it. 103 is really 1.5, 101.5. It basically, because when you take 2.5 years of a language, you automatically cannot take 101. You have to jump up to 102 in the past. Well, there was a lot of students in the past that couldn't take 101 because of how much they took in high school, but they didn't actually test into 102 because they forgot some. You get rusty. 103 is meant to mend that gap. So it starts you off at 101 level, accelerates you up through 102 so you can start 201 just as if you took 102. So that's what 103 means. So no, you can't go below what you tested into because then it becomes a general elective, but there are options. Okay.
If you are interested in more than one major, how do you pick which classes to take?
Well, on the profile, let us know, that you're interested in more than one. most students in fall, first year students, you're going to take core. So if you let us know and you look at your block schedule and you let your advisor know, we can give you suggestions on maybe something you can take that fall semester. If you need to take something right away, it's a good chance you may not need to worry about it fall. You can maybe pursue one of those majors and then add a class spring semester that kind of helps you figure out if you like that second major.
All right. How many times can you retake the math placement test?
3. And you have to do the 8-hour tutorial every time.
What are the typical AP scores that Xavier accepts?
4 and higher. We don't accept 3s. Just be we're a little pickier. Used to, when in my day it was 3s, but we've I guess moved up. So 4 or 5. I'd have to look at IB, but I think that's like 3, 4, 5, and they're scored differently. So that's why I think we include a 3. But yeah.
All right. Am I able to look up my sequence and fill out my cheat sheet right now?
Same as what I said earlier. Was depends on what step you're on. When the screen comes up and the next step, then that's when you're going to be able to do it.
And along that same line, we have another question. When can you take, or when is the best time to take the placement test?
As soon as possible. Once you deposit, that's going to be one of the things you can do. So, ideally you want to, if you're here asking these questions and you've deposited, get it done. It's going to make, the May 16th that much easier if you're going to have it done.
Do you need to complete math placement tests before registering for any courses?
No. Oh, well, yeah, sorry. Sorry about that. Yes, it's not going to let you register until you've completed that step. My apologies. I don't know why.
Quick off the draw there.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. How would you register for classes if you are a business undecided or exploratory major? I know you kind of talked about that.
You will have your own block schedule. So, when you get to that step where it sees your recommended course schedule, Road to Xavier already knows what your major is. So it's only going to show you the block schedule for your major. So business undecided has its own, exploratory has its own. So it'll give you exactly what you need for your major, including exploratory and business undecided.
Do the honors programs get to register early?
Nope, not this time. This is all open. In the future, yes, you do get to register earlier than your counterparts, your non-honors classmates, but not in summer.
Do students take the tutorial before the placement test, or is it only upon the retake?
Oh, for math. I think there is a tutorial you can do before you even do the math placement test to begin with. It's not 8 hours. I don't think it's 8 hours, but the retake one is 8 hours.
Are there any type of required religious classes since Xavier's Catholic?
Yes, with a caveat. I'd like to reassure some students out there. Yes, you have to take Theology 111, which is Theological Foundations, and an additional Theological Perspectives classes. Now, let me reassure you, you do not have to be a Catholic school student or even be Christian to do fine in these classes. I went to Catholic school. I was a Xavier student, and I learned a lot in my Theology 111 class. So, yes, you do, because we are Jesuit, but do not be scared off if that is not your background.
All right. Even if you missed the deadline for the honors programs but are still interested in it, are you able to apply?
I would check with your admission counselor on that.
All right. For your core subjects, can you retake them even if you have AP credit in those classes?
You can. I mean, I wouldn't, because some of the reason with AP credit is that, hey, you got that marked off. So, might as well move forward and take something else in its place. I mean, we're not going to stop you, but well, we might say not recommended, but, we're not going to physically tell you not to take them. But it really it would kind of be backfiring for the reason you took the AP exam.
All right. Do you need to complete all placement tests in all subjects? And by all subjects, that means foreign language and math.
Yes, you either for foreign language, if you did not take one of those languages that we had the test in, that's when you mark other, and then let us know. And then yes, you have to do math. So you do have to respond. So foreign language, like I said, you can write other, or you have to take the exam. And then math, you have to take the exam. It's not going to let you move to the next step of registration until those steps are done.
All right, so we have time for about 2 more questions, and I want to say something before we wrap it up and get to these 2 questions. I know you have a lot more questions, and we by no means covered all that we possibly could. I know Molly tried to fit a lot in a very limited amount of time. We do encourage you to reach out to your admissions counselor and the academic advising office so that we can help you, especially once this process starts. Beforehand, if you have any questions, we would be more than happy to do that.
The admission counselors email me usually,
Yes.
so I will get your question.
Yes.
Probably.
So before we get to these last 2 questions, make sure you reach out to us so we can help you through this process, as I know Molly iterated a lot of times. But Chloe, if you want to read one more question for us.
All right. So the next question, can you just sign up for a 101 foreign language and not take the placement test?
No. I mean, you would have to take, again, you have to answer that question. You have to answer other, they took a different language, or take the placement exam. And again, like I said, we can look up if you've taken that language or not. So it will catch up. If you're trying to get around the system, it will catch up to you.
All right, so this actually I think is an excellent question to wrap up on as we get into the summer and you guys prepare to get here in the fall in just a few short months. Is there a summer reading assignment?
No, there used to be, but there isn't any longer.
Yes, there did.
There was, yeah, but not anymore. They eliminated it.
All right, well, that's all for this evening. I want to thank you guys for joining us for this Muskie
Yes.
Chat and Academic Advising. Again, please keep asking questions. Please letting us know. Keep letting us know what we can do to help you through this process. But I want to thank you all very much for signing up. I want to thank
Yes,
Molly for
sure.
presenting and letting us know. all
Sorry
this
for
great
the cell phone.
All right, well, thank you guys all. Have a fantastic evening, and we look forward to seeing you soon in August.
Welcome to Xavier.